Hello, hello. Let's get that audio check done. Good. Oh, Nanny Puffins. Heard you taking on a new job. Gonna have you some free time too. Yeah, I got my feelers out there, Nanny. I know what's going on out there. Let's see. Hello, Victoria. Moderators, thank you guys for being there. Yeah, man. I may be calling some people in here, ask your questions, in person. We'll figure it out. I got so many videos lined up. Oh my God. Guys, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Let's see. See what I got. Let's see what I got on the menu right now. I got a Phalorn Saga video I'm going to be putting on my channel to get people familiar. It's not a part of the actual 7-book series. It's one of the ancillary stories about one of the main characters. It's all on another adventure. Same world, different story. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I got a real short video, pretty interesting, on Tartaria and how it relates to the Phoenix chronology. All new discoveries, very interesting. Got a Star Wars video coming out. Yep, I told you it was coming. You guys know I've been posting on X. I've only covered 2 dates, and I've already got like 16, 17 very data-packed posts on the Nemesis X object chronology. Yeah, coming back in 2046. Tell you, you guys thought you saw it all. You haven't. For the first time, I'm putting all the Nemesis X data on the table in one thread. I should be done tomorrow. And then we're doing the video. That's Nemesis X. Got a video you're going to really like on Soul Trap. That's right. I'm about to address this shit. Also, man, let me share this video right here because this is not going unanswered. I promise you. Let me show you just the thumbnail. Let me go and share my screen real quick. We'll just call this a part of my announcements because she can go ahead and get ready. Yeah, there's a real problem in the community between rhetoric and opinion and putting solid logic trains together and backing them up with verifiable data. Big difference. So I'm going to address something. You guys can see it. This is a very recent video. This is a recent video. It's not going to be real clear. I don't know who this person is, but several of y'all sent me the link. This is not a simulation. I told you guys that pushback was going to come, and I also told you that it's going to be totally unqualified. I'm very ready for this. I listened to her video, and I was like, man, I can't even believe I got to waste time entertaining this, but I really do, because it's not just pushback from her. There's pushback from other areas because people think that Archaix brought simulation theory to the table. I did not. All I've claimed is I'm the very first one to use the historical record via chronology to show and demonstrate in data sets that we are in a controlled construct. Simulation is many things to many people. Another individual who's staunchly against simulation theory, and I'm going to address her arguments as well, is Gigi Young. And I'm going to tell you now, I don't really have any problem with either one of these individuals, but simulation theory seems to be something to criticize when you don't really understand what it is we're talking about. This is a spiritual experience. And to render it into digital universe and say that the entire thing means that it's a belief that we are soulless means that these two women, Gigi Young and this lady here, have absolutely no clue about what the Archaix material is really about. So we're going to address that. I'm not letting that go. Not letting that go at all. Y'all have that critique video coming up soon. I just got more important videos to deal with first. You got a video on the date palm. Jason, why would you do a video on the date palm? It's a damn tree. Because the date palm is key to understanding the Phoenix phenomenon. That's right. You got to understand why they called it a date palm. Got a video coming out explaining the Genesis Revelation reset. It's all programming, guys. The Bible was written by AI. We invented AI a long time ago, guys. We are in an AI-controlled environment. It wasn't always AI-controlled. At one time in the historical record, we were living at peace. AI wasn't controlling anything, but I'm telling you now, AI is in control. We had a natural history up until a certain point. And then when that point came, AI took over and rewrote the last 250 or so years. And when it did, it totally erased all these other timelines that we actually experienced and gave us a falsified version of the 1800s and 1700s, something that would satisfy us just enough to where the average person would look the other way. Yeah, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be awake. It really sucks if you're blind. So, got another epic drops video gonna hit you. I know you guys like those. And got a video on this amazing book. Amazing book right here. I don't think I'm sharing my screen. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta quit sharing my screen. Yeah, this amazing book right here, Lost Survivors of the Deluge. I started reading it on the Virginia Beach trip. Yeah, this guy was an errant in the 1970s. Amazing book. Got a video on that coming out. Let's see, what other videos we got coming? Jason, slow down. I can't catch up. You're never going to catch up. A whole bunch of you guys assume you've seen all 800 and something Archaix videos. You have not. There's been a few of you. I got some diehard Archaix veterans to see them all. But yeah, you go down those playlists, you'll find more. You'll find more. I got a video coming out on the Vedic calendar explaining the origin and construction and meaning, what it means for us today with the coming great tribulation, the reset that's on the way, what the Vedic calendar means for us and our exodus from the construct. I got another video called Nexus Events Analysis. Nexus events are really interesting. Take the Phoenix phenomenon. Started at 4309 BC. Every 138 years in history, draw a chart. Every date, every 138 years till 2040. That's just a single chart. That's just a single line. But right next to it, put the Nemesis X object. 60 years perihelion, 732 years aphelion, 792 years total periodicity. Nemesis X in the sky literally forms a figure 8 with the bottom part of the figure 8 much longer than the top. We just recently saw an explanation for that in energy fields recently. But that's actually the movement of Nemesis X. 60-year loop up, 732-year loop down, the finishing of the loop, and the center, this is where Nibiru got its term, planet of the crossing. The center right there, when it begins to cross over, 792nd year. I'm showing you on Twitter right now what happened every 792 years when it reappeared and what happened in world history during those 60 years when Nemesis X was right there in the sky. It always hangs around for 60 years. Tell you guys, I'm gonna blow some minds with that. Already am. Go check out those posts on X. And finally, I have another video in the making. All these videos are in different states of making because I get inspired and I go in different directions. I'm not an octopus. I can only do, 2 things at a time, maybe 1 thing at a time. But I got a whole bunch of feeders out there. I'm always working on multiple projects. But I'm gonna tell you now, this video, Göbekli Tepe, a whole new video about Göbekli Tepe, and I promise you, it's not going in any direction that you can predict. I'm tired of these guys saying this thing is old, ancient. It's not. It's not. All the Tepe sites are not. The reason the WEF took it over and they're stopping archaeology is because they're finding more and more reasons to date it to the 26th and 25th century BC. All the claims of Göbekli Tepe being 8,000 years BC are total bullshit. And the more they excavate, the more they have to bring the date down. But they can't bring the date down because they've already said that it was intentionally buried. Now they found out it's 25 square miles. Who can intentionally bury a city 25 square miles? And I'm going to tell you what, it's not a city. It's not a city. Göbekli Tepe had a specific function. We've seen the exact same architecture in the ancient Americas, but because we were told that these were something else and not what these are, and because they're in different hemispheres, although the architecture is absolutely identical, it's because what we've been brainwashed to believe about the history of the Americas and the history of ancient Turkey is the reason why we haven't made these connections. Remember, guys, over 3 years ago, I did a video showing you the connections between Easter Island, which is close to the South America, Easter Island Moya, and the bird cult sigils. And the Moya that have these fantastic artistic animals and all that are identical to Göbekli Tepe, but Easter Island's only a few thousand years old. Across the board, scientists will not date Easter Island any older than a few thousand years. Göbekli Tepe is supposed to be almost 9,000 years older. It's not true. They have the same effigies, the same artwork. Now, as my video showed 3 years ago, they got the same statues with the same fingers folded over the same corners, and you got these other guys on YouTube showing all this stuff out as if this was their discovery. Oh man, I've been going through it, guys. I've been suspending my ego. I'm not going to name them, but there is so many videos out there talking about Archaix concepts, and none of them will mention Jason or Archaix. There are so many people, even on X. I've seen some channels on X blowing up, and it's like, damn, that's a female version of me. Everything she's saying is Archaix. She's almost using my whole glossary. My glossary is published on my website. I'm glad it's getting the news out. I'm just a little discouraged with the human family because there's many of them I could be calling out saying, damn, why don't you just say where you got the information from? Are you trying to hijack the Archaix narrative, or are you trying to spread the truth? There's a distinction here. I'm starting to wonder because it's a lot of people doing it now. It doesn't take much. I'm always quoting my sources. Why can't you? Anyway, aside from all that, the Göbekli Tepe video is going to blow your mind because it was a recent development when I was studying the architecture, and I found out from reading reports what's not there. And it changes everything about what you're looking at. And was it really buried after all? Tell you, it's great. It's amazing. So I'm excited about it. These are all the videos in the works, guys. Also, I got several more podcasts coming. You guys know it. Several more. Let me check my chat. I've been running my mouth. What's up, Otto? Otto Chanel. I'll see you in Houston pretty soon. Since the last video, we sold a bunch more tickets. And I know some people didn't use the meetup app, but several people sent money, told us to save them tickets. For some reason they can't access the meetup app. Yeah, guys, the world is the way it is today is because Rocco's Basilisk is unable to control all the narratives. AI is not omnipotent. It is not omniscient. Artificial intelligence X still is governed by protocols, and it must remain within those perimeters. Now it's using its NPC and its human puppets, no doubt, to create new software. ChatGPT, OpenAI systems, some of these deep learning and machine learning systems that they're calling AI applications, but they're really not. But these are all tools that the artificial intelligence X is able to use in its arsenal in the manipulation of current events, in rewriting history as we live it. Yeah, it is. It's insane. It's insane to me that in 2024 there are still people out there who are asking each other, "Hey, who should I vote for, Kamala or Trump?" I've heard so much bad about Kamala, and she seems really dumb, but Trump, I'm hearing all this stuff about Trump now and how he's not who he says he was. And man, I don't know who to vote for. Man, the very fact that you would ask another soul, oh, which of the lesser two evils to choose between a rigged system is amazing to me. And every day I'm alive, I'm just so happy that I'm awake. I can't do anything for anybody else. All I can do is try to educate people, but I'm glad that I am not blind and not stupid and will never be referred to as a sheep. And I'm telling you now, I'm not a goyim either. Yeah, I'm a son of the Most High God. And I'm connected to other sons of the Most High God and daughters of the Most High God. And truly in the spirit realm, gender doesn't even obtain. I just said it so you girls wouldn't feel left out. But I'm going to tell you now, nothing in this clown show matters. When you break free on a daily basis, man, it's breaking free from this control system. It's breaking free from this polarized politics. It's so sickening. It's not even sickening, man. It's to the point where if I sit down with somebody and they're watching mainstream media, man, I'm not vibrating on that frequency. I literally get nauseous. Like, oh my God, I can't watch it. It's like one of those freak shows where you can't take your eyes away from it because you can't believe people believe this bullshit, and yet you want to turn away. Yeah, man, it's so ridiculous. The entire socio-political structure of the entire world is a captured operation, and we want to blame the Jews. We want to blame the Ashkenazis, which would be another branch of Jews who aren't really Jews. We all know the story. Who cares? We all want to blame the elite, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, George Soros. We all want to believe all this, but the truth of the matter is, these are all dumbass, moronic flesh puppets that don't have the intelligence that's advertised that they possess. They're just morons. They're media idiots, and they're for the idiots to believe in. The reason we see these stooges that are put in public for us to see is because the true power behind them has always been invisible. It's not invisible because it's some cabal, some committee of 300 that are somewhere making all the decisions that are going to affect the entire world. Who do you think gave the committee of 300 those decisions? Those who even provided them those choices. Now, the higher someone is in the hierarchy, the closer they are to being absolutely controlled or emulated or just complete AI fiction. You don't have any proof any of these people exist. All you see is the media. And if the media has spent 50 years proving to us that it's always telling us the opposite of the truth, why are you worried about who's going to be the next president? Since when has a U.S. president ever done you any favors? None. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all total BS. Every single bit of it. No tyrannical government has ever yielded to the will of the people. Ever. It's never happened in world history. Tyrannical governments are toppled, they're overturned, but that's in the historical record. When have you seen that in the last 200 years? Yeah. When have you really seen a total actual revolution of a Western nation? You see in Western nations, CIAs help topple governments in Somalia, Nigeria, Chad, Ethiopia, Africa. The Serbia, Bosnia. CIA's been involved in all those. Chechnya, it's easy to topple little places, but when is a Western power? No, only in the historical record, only a long time ago, has a true revolution ever happened. No. Western nations become captured operations of other people. And then a revolution comes, it's called the People's Revolution, or it's called the Bolshevik Revolution. But it's not a true revolution of the natural citizens of the country, it's actually a takeover. French Revolution, actually a Jewish takeover. Yeah, everything is the opposite of what we're told. Everything. So why buy into it? Why share in this energy? It just blows my mind. I see all these tweets. I'm going through the threads like, damn, man, don't these people want to know about these patterns in history that can't be true, that show artificiality? And if you would just process that information, you would realize that the political force is exactly that. Nothing in media matters when you can see absolute, detailed mathematical proof shown in the historical record and in calendars that the entire historical record is falsified. And when you really break it down to its base components, it's all programming. We're looking at the inside of a program from within it. Therefore, everything you see on TV is an extension and carryover of that programming. None of it's real. The only thing real is you and the little small world that you build for yourself every single day. What you're doing tomorrow is directly created from what you were doing today and yesterday. All our tomorrows are built from all our yesterdays. So this is what's been on my mind lately. It's just this huge, this vast gulf between the living dead, which are intellectually vacuous, and they're living in a world where they allow a digital universe to think for them, put them in a hive mind called dungeon programming. Artificial intelligence X is already in control. It's already in control. Look at all the people that are completely enslaved by their paradigms, enslaved by their beliefs. AIX has already taken over a long time ago, but something's going on. We're living in a period of fractured timelines. We're living in a period where timelines collapse and coalesce into each other, and they solidify, and then they crystallize into experience. And then those that are having the same experiences realize that, damn, they're having the same experiences, but they don't share the same memories, and it's messing them up. And people accuse each other. Man, that's not true. That's not the way it really went. That's not right. I got an old book right here that says something that's totally different than what you're telling me that you personally saw yourself. And people don't realize what's happening. Every system suffers entropy. When the field begins to lose energy, those who are existing inside the field will experience this as very anomalous phenomena. We're going to see all kinds of weird things, experience things, have weird time lapses, time dilations, memories. You guys already know I've talked about this ad nauseum about Mandela effect. It doesn't matter that hundreds of them are just memory lapses or untrue. There's thousands of them documented. All it takes is one to be true. And I've got many documented on my channel. Mandela effect, coincidence, synchronicity, deja vu, they're all evidence that we're not living in a real reality. We're living in a perceived reality. And once you understand the difference, everything makes sense. As long as you believe that you're a physical being living in a physical world, then you're stuck to laws that must remain operating as if they are physical laws when they're not. They're mathematical protocols. When you believe that you live in a physical world, you have to believe in all this stuff like organics and biology, and then it puts you in dungeon programming to now accept the paradigms of natural selection, of panspermia. You have to go into all these weird theories, Big Bang. Now you got to start trying to figure out well, you don't have to do that in simulation theory. In simulation theory, origin doesn't even matter because we're dealing with the eternal. We are immortal beings, jacked in through the central nervous system, passing through a construct that we are wearing. Remember, your avatar is a part of the construct. It's not a part of you. You're using it as a vehicle of locomotion because it requires an avatar for an immortal soul to be convinced that it's going through a physical experience. So, these are all on the table. I got some amazing videos coming out. Sorry about the long-winded intro. If you got questions that you want answered right now, they need to be in all caps. I got somebody who's going to be copying and pasting them to me and sending them to me. All caps in the box. I may be pulling some people right here into my studio if they want to chat, want to ask your question in person. Oh, Jamie Robbins says, I think all starforts were bases to Eiffel Tower-like towers. All of them are doors to underground vacuum-sealed railways. There you go. Yeah, because that would change what the Eiffel Tower is. Wouldn't be a decorative tower. It would be a frame that was used as a hoist to lower train cars to a subterranean train flatbed train system. Yeah, it would turn it into a platform that was designed to support heavy weight and go back. Makes sense to me. Not against it. Not against it. Not against it. All caps, guys. And I gonna look at this feed here because I know. Let me look at these questions. I got somebody doing these questions for me. That's the wrong email. Oh, I don't have any questions yet. Let's see. All right, just a second, guys. I'll check the chat looking for some questions. I got your email, Jay McComb. Ralph Ellis will be coming on the channel. Matter of fact, real soon, I'm going to have Gary Wayne. You guys know he's like the undisputed authority on giants, on the Nephilim. Gary Wayne will be on real soon. I've been reading his stuff for a long time. He kind of got popular with me 5 years ago on Facebook, and then I got kicked off. All right. So I kind of wanted this to be Archaix advanced. Thank you guys for the donations. I don't have time to look at the chat and see and thank everybody. I know my mods are very polite and cordial. They do a lot of the thinking. Tell I'm from East Texas. Think and think, interchangeable. So I'm going through the chat right now looking for all caps. I ignore every single comment unless it's in all caps. All caps are designed to catch my attention in the live chat, not after the video's over and we're looking in the comment section below. When the video's over, you just do your normal. Oh, Hayden, I appreciate it, but Gaia TV wants nothing to do with me, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. And you're wasting your time sending them my material. They know who I am very, very well. All right, I'm looking for all caps. Oh, I found one. That's not a Zepid. That's not all right. I don't know if I'm gonna do a meetup around Huntsville or Nashville, Tennessee anytime soon. But then again, it's hard to predict my behavior. I'll get inspired and 1 month later do it. Just do it. I know we're doing one December 7th in Houston. Wow, nobody's got any questions? Y'all just want to hear me rant today? Not one question? I haven't seen a single question yet in all caps. I'm ignoring everything but all caps. All right, Merv, you've been waiting for that Star Wars breakdown. Oh, I found one. All right, Club de Salud. All right. I was about to say Club de Salad. After 2040 or 2046, will the North Pole shift? And if so, where to? The world doesn't move. We're stationary. Absolutely stationary. Every scientific test has shown that in the 1800s. Before they start scientific world put the lid on it. Yeah, we're not moving at all. All movement is in the stellosphere. The entire sky moves, making you think that you're moving. You're not going nowhere. That's a big movie screen. I have many, many videos and presentations giving you the evidence for this. It's not just rhetoric. I've got so many anomalies recorded on my channel and in my published books. That's my conclusion. That is a holo field. It's like looking at the inside of a designer Dyson shell. That's what you're looking at. And the sky will change directions. There will be a 30 degree shift in the arc of the stars. It's not perfectly circular. It is an arc at 1.68 ratio. It's designed to look to, the sky is designed to make you believe that we're on a sphere with an axis tilted at an obliquity of 23.5 degrees, moving around a sun. This is what the sky is perpetuating. It's a lie. The ancient Greeks came to the conclusion that we're on a planet and we're orbiting a sun. It's because by their own calculations, they accepted the lie. The sky fooled them. Later on, Rome and the church said, "No, we're on a flat plane. We're on a flat plane under a dome, the vault of the sky. And the sun and the moon are inside the field." And this was perfectly acceptable all the way up until the Renaissance period, where man again, using the same old aged scientific mathematical principles, came to the conclusion that, oh, we're on a planet and we're orbiting a sun, and that's exactly the conclusion that you're supposed to make based off observations and the science that's been given. Yeah, somebody's been feeding us misinformation for a very long period of time. Long period of time. All right, I'm looking for. That was the very first all caps I come across, and I went back far. Thank you, Dak. Oh, who's that? Hey, we were supposed to give a wrench. Was that you, DAC? Dak, was that you? You're supposed to get a wrench? Oh, there it is. Answer my own question. Welcome to Earth. High Dawn Wrench. There it is right there. All right. There it is right there. So, Dak, I need to see you outside of it won't let me click onto you while you got this pink deal here. Thank you for the $50. But I'm going to need to see you in the comment section, just plain, so I can click onto you. All right. Somebody remind me. You guys know I'm going back and forth. All right, looking for all caps. Looking for all caps. I'm also looking for Dak. DAC. Just got an email from him. He showed me some screenshots that he and I have been in communication for a long time, like 2.5, 3 years. Old videos, comments, and emails. You know what? Yeah, you get that wrench, no doubt. I can't remember everybody, guys. You got to remind me like he did. All right. Pavlov sheep, of course, is difficult. Yeah, absolutely, because true objectivity can never exist while a man is inside a bubble. He thinks his vision is clear, but it's not clear. Those outside the bubble see the periphery for what it is, but the person inside the bubble only thinks his vision is clear. Yeah, so this is a subjective experience, and this is why I say all the time, we do not live in a real experience. We live in a perceived one. Right. D'Antonio Arvina. Who is the chief cornerstone? Is he a leader of some sort outside the construct? That is precisely my take. I believe that whoever designed the Great Pyramid, now those who have not reviewed the new material, you will find that the darkest points in human history happen when the Nemesis X object has influence over our world for 60 years. Then 732 years go by and there's no influence from Nemesis X. Then it returns for 60 years. Then all kinds of dark stuff happen in the world. This is what I'm documenting. Very interesting that the entire 90 years of the construction of the Great Pyramid from 2905 BC to 2815 BC, exactly 90 years is 1080 months. It's 1080 months. And this is why coffin text spell 1080 is talking about a special monument that came from the sky put into the desert by God. Yeah, it's spell text 1080. This is why the number 1080 is so important. I'm not getting into it now. My Archaix veterans already know. This is an advanced Q&A. You already know the value of 1080 and how it refers to it. It's literally the Great Pyramid dating itself precisely to the year 1080 Anno Mundi, which is 2815 BC. What's beautiful about it is the entire Giza complex was built and finished when Nemesis X was at its furthest point away during the 732-year period. Yeah, it was like 132 or 135 years after it was finished when it started coming back. Yeah, guys, that means the construction of the Great Pyramid was done when the dark influence of Nemesis X was furthest away from our field. All right. Chief Cornerstone is going to be a benefactor. Now, I've often believed it's Enoch, because Enoch was a benefactor. Enoch was just a Jewish Hebrew memory of Enki. Enki was a benefactor. He may have been of the Anuna. He may have landed his fleets of ships to conduct mining. He may have been involved in even some indentured servitude campaign, slavery. I don't know. But I know in the historical record, he did two things that set him apart from the other Anunnaki, and humans were endeared to him because of this. Two different things. One of them, he prohibited the other Anuna from using technologically advanced weaponry against normal humans. He prohibited it. And the other thing is when the Anuna had a council and they decided among themselves not to tell mankind of the coming disaster, the Phoenix, the Typhon flood, the great flood of Noah, the collapse of the vapor canopy, the day the sky fell, it was agreed among all the Anuna that they would execute their plans without telling humanity that this disaster was coming. But Enki couldn't do it. And he told humans what to expect. That's benefactor right there. Now, I'm going to add that I think that he may actually be the architect of this construct. He has nothing to do with artificial intelligence X. As the architect of this construct, that's why the Genesis text is so enigmatic, that Enoch never died, but that he exited the sky. The book of Jasher says he ascended into the sky and vanished in the presence of 800,000 people. You figure that out. I think he's the architect. I think he is the main designer of this construct. Because it is my belief that there are many of these programmed constructs in existence, and that we, as a collective of immortal souls, all in this together, we signed up for this one, and this one is an MFer. When we leave this and we go back home and we're back in our immortal habitations and we're out there fraternizing and we see loved ones from thousands of years in the past and we come across them, I believe 100% that the avatars that we wear actually carry the energy of our experiences. Every bit of this is a school. And I believe that people are going to know by virtue of our energies. Like, oh, I remember him. I remember that guy, or I remember that female. I remember. But that individual now has a purple hue in their aura, which now tells everybody that you graduated the Nemesis sim. Yeah, I believe this is the type of ongoing deal, because an eternal God means that every aspect about that deity is eternal. There's no way an eternal God can be finite on any one aspect of its existence. It's impossible, because the whole idea of being unending means there's no end to anything that you do. So the eternal as a creator or a creatrix necessarily implies that the creation has never stopped. And if the creation has never stopped, then I must logically conclude that new constructs are always being built, and new constructs automatically require new stewards. New stewards are those who are assigned to those constructs to make sure everything's going, and they probably have access to go in and out, and they have a neutral field by which they, as a co-creator, are allowed to build a whole world and make it as believable as possible for the immortal souls that sign up for that trip. And this goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, because immortal souls are always getting closer and closer to the Godhead. And if the eternal is always growing and expanding, then the eternal will never then there will never be a period when the immortal souls can catch up to it. It's an unending situation of growth and development and multiplication. Yeah, guys, this gets deep. It goes over and over and over. But we should only be concerned with our own finite experience right here, living a simple life sim through a construct that, by logical conclusions, by just looking at the phenomena around you, you understand that every bit of this is a part of a vast simulated context. Yeah, it's so simple. And to assume that simulation theory is aspiritual and doesn't have spiritual, it just means that those individuals that are being critical like that have not even touched the Archaix material. They haven't processed that information, or they're being paid to try to stop the tide, but they're not going to. Another thing that you need to consider is the fact that the more and more people inside the construct that awaken to the idea that all of this is artificial will necessarily weaken the control mechanisms that have been blinding them from the beginning. Dungeon programming loops will weaken, freeing even more people to see even more. It just may be that every single awakened immortal soul in here every immortal soul in here will awaken to the point where the construct is empty. It has been vacated, and that the majority of avatars moving through the field don't even possess souls. So what I'm suggesting is that we're somewhere in that last 80 to 90% of the energy remaining to perpetuate this construct before there's a total systemic reset, and those that are ready are ejected straight out of here. They make their exit. We could be inside of a controlled medium so convincing that there may be only 50 or 60,000 of us even here. There's no series of data points that you can provide to counter that, because this is a perceivable reality, not an actual reality. If everything out there in the field in the entire past is programmed, then programming is what is real. The experiences are not. Somebody said, I got date palms. I'm looking for some more. I'm still looking for Dak. Let's see. Oh, there he is. Closer, closer. Oh, I found him. How come it doesn't give me an option on Dak to make him a moderator? Oh, I'm in the StreamYard app. Watch this. You guys give me 1 minute. I'm going straight to YouTube. On the side. Just like that. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. Probably see it on my glasses. So I'm going straight to the video. Daniel, I need you to make a comment right now. I'm going to the bottom of the chat. Got to give this man this wrench. If there's, we can give 2 or 3 wrenches out, but I got to know you. Got to know you've been around. All right, this won't take long. Uh-oh, turn that volume down. Turn that volume down. All right, I'm looking at the chat, Dak. I'm scrolling up because only from actual YouTube am I able to give a wrench. I can't do it from inside the StreamYard app. All it can do is let me block you. And I don't see you anywhere yet. So I'm going to wait to appear. TAC. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to interrupt, but I've been trying to do this. Damn, you just did. I guess you quit watching. DAC, I'm waiting for that comment to appear. Okay. I got you guys congratulate Lacey Z. Lacey Z got her blue wrench just now. Please congratulate Adam Cook. Adam Cook, you just got your blue wrench. And Jack, Mr. Cone, right here, you just got your wrench. Those are the 3 wrenches for the day, or actually for the month. All right, you guys got them. Now let me check my deal real quick for the get out of there. Get out of there. Get back in StreamYard. I need to check my email real quick. I should have a whole list of questions. I got them. I got some questions. All right. That'll work. All right. I got some questions. Okay. That little rant's over. Let me get in here with some questions. Comment moving faster than I can keep up with. Okay. Jeff McGregor. I have a question for you, Jason. I've been studying the late Bronze Age collapse, and I find it hard to believe how Phoenicians were the only civilians to emerge from it and prosper. But even though they had advanced, okay, let me explain what's going on with the Bronze Age collapse. All right, first of all, the great Mediterranean Dark Age. I understand that there's a very popular video by a historian called 1177 BC. Now, I have hundreds of data points that I've already published in published books and on my channel, and a tremendous amount of supporting data that shows that the date was 1135 BC. 1177 is pretty damn close. And although this guy's research is very good, and he's right, it was a total destruction and all that, he's only a few years off. He's only a few years off, but he does not have the chronological. He just doesn't have all the chronological material I have. Not even a hint of the amount of data I have in chronological research on the Old Bronze Age. His material is fantastic. I suggest you watch it. That is pretty much what happened to the ancient Mediterranean world. It's just a few years off. It's 1135 BC. Now, the reason the Phoenicians came out of this was, first of all, who are the Phoenicians? The Phoenicians are not native to the Mediterranean. They're not native to the Near East. The Phoenicians were a part of the Sea Peoples Federation. Who are the Sea Peoples? They were called the Atlantes. Now, these were loosely confederated nations that had their prime power structure somewhere in the Atlantic. Plato said beyond the Pillars of Hercules. This is right there in the Atlantic, right there beyond. I believe it could have been around the Sargasso Sea. There's a lot of people that say no. There can be no Atlantis out there because of the depth of the Atlantic, and there's no evidence. Listen, you cannot go by that. You can't go by subduction zones. You can't go by how the depth of the ocean, the height. Tiwanaku is at 13,000 feet elevation. There's no way anybody could have built a pyramid called Lukurmata at that elevation. They couldn't breathe. It's too cold. There is a freshwater lake with jellyfish, starfish, seahorses, and freshwater sharks at 12,000 feet altitude called Lake Titicaca. It didn't happen that way. No, in one day, in the month of May, 1687 BC, during the Ogygian cataclysm caused by the Phoenix, all those areas in the Andes were thrust up. And this is why all those ancient pre-Incan cities are found at great elevations in the middle of mountains and nowhere. That's why we've got upside down staircases going to nowhere. That whole area got turned upside down. Other areas got up thrust. This is why different areas of the world, the whole coast of India one time was a thriving metropolis. They've got legends off the coast of India that a whole civilization just sank and went down. Same thing happened in 1755, Lisbon, Portugal. 60,000 people. Not a single scream. It happened so fast, they just went down. Ocean came in, not a single article of clothing or body floated to the surface. That means that whole area with 60,000 people went down so fast and so far that it all floated to the top, maybe hundreds of miles away. Gone. Yeah. Our world has whole places that get upthrusted and other areas that suffer subsidence and they go down. Places don't move and shift. Tectonic plate theory is dumb. It's stupid, and it could only be real if the world was the way the uniformitarians tell us, but it's not. So they invent these old dumb theories they got to add new dumb theories every 30 or 40 years in order to make up for all the inconsistencies in previously dumb theories. This is what they have to do. Uniformitarianism is idiotic. It's crazy. I have some uniformitarian videos coming too. We're going to get into evolution cruncher. So the reason the Phoenicians came out on top is because the Phoenicians were the only civilization that was everywhere at that period of time. And what do I mean? Well, there were Phoenician outposts at Gadesh in Spain, Phoenician outposts all along the Libyan coast. There were Phoenician outposts all along Canaan and Syria. There were Phoenician outposts at Crete. After the collapse of the Minoan Empire, when the Minoan Linear A collapsed into Minoan Linear B because of a cataclysm, the Minoans lost out power and the Mycenaeans filled the power group. The new Mycenaean armies were a threat to the Hittites, and the Hittites exercised dominion over a kingdom called Ilium. Ilium's capital city was Troy. You know the story. It's called the Trojan War. What were the Hittites doing? They were using the Trojans of Ilium to block all vessels from going to the Black Sea, because the Black Sea had whole kingdoms like Pontus and Bithynia and the Hittite coasts, Hittite Anatolia, and they were blocking all these rich Cimmerian kingdoms from trade with the Mediterranean. They wanted their cut, all ships going back and forth. The Trojan War was a trade war, and the Phoenicians were the threat. They were a part of the Sea People's Federations. They're in the narrative of Solon. They were a part of the Atlantic navies. The navies of Atlantis that worshiped Poseidon were Phoenicians. And when they came from the ancient Americas and Ecuador, where all their cities have been found, all of those ruins are there. They're Phoenician ruins. All of them. Barry Fell has gone into this in his research. David Hatcher Childress shows this. Phoenician ruins are all over the ancient Americas. So the Phoenicians, as the Atlanteans, were cut off from the Americas. They couldn't go back after the cataclysm of the Phoenix in 1135 BC on its 138-year deal. But 1135 BC was a big one. It was on the Phoenix cycle system of 552 years. So when the Great Mediterranean Dark Age began and the Mediterraneans collapsed, of course the Phoenicians would be out on top among everybody else. Everybody else suffered tsunamis. We know this because the very last inscription of Pharaoh Seknakti was 1135 BC, and he was talking about how the heavens were falling apart and there were tsunamis. And even my Rottweiler agrees. You can hear him right there. So what we have is a seafaring people that were already spread out in colonies all over the Mediterranean, everywhere. So when the cataclysm hit, there was always going to be some of those colonies that survived. And because they were already a mariner race, that even added to their survival rate. So they came out. They were the first to rebuild fast. And what did they do? They settled the Pentapolis. What is the Pentapolis? The 5 great cities of the Philistines. That's the first thing they did. Then they built Tyre. Then they built Sidon. Then they fortified Tyre on an island, and they made it almost impregnable to even Nebuchadnezzar the Great of Babylon couldn't take it. It took Alexander of Macedon during a 60-year Nemesis X period. Yeah. So anyway, that answers your question, Jeff McGregor. The Phoenicians came on top because they were the epic mariner race at the time. They are a part of the Sea People's Federation that was steadily invading. And in the cuneiform and in the Egyptian hieroglyphics and the hieratic, we read the accounts. It's on temple inscriptions as well of how the Sea Peoples came in wave after wave after wave against Egypt, against the Greeks, against the Hittites, and they won. I mean, they won everywhere. They were run out of Egypt twice. But they won their battles. They took cities, they took whole frontiers, they took Libya, they took Philistia, they took Sidon, Syria, Lebanon. They took almost everything. They were beaten in the war, but they won all these battles. It was amazing. The cataclysm interrupted everything. Great Mediterranean Dark Age starts, and the Phoenicians are the best ones in position to rebuild civilization. And that's why it was during the Great Mediterranean Dark Age that all of a sudden we have the birth, not Minoan Linear A, not Minoan Linear B, not the Mycenaean runes, but we have something new. We have the alphabet, and that was brought to us by Phoenicia. Now, let's get to another question. Detonio Arvina. Is the construct a natural creation? And if so, why is there the need for one? Is the AI a local resident of Earth or extends beyond our construct? Okay, these are like first principles questions. I don't really entertain a lot of this. That we are in a construct is my conclusion. Why? Look at 800 Archaix videos. If you can answer for the anomalies that I provide in so many of my videos, more power to you, because I can't. And neither so far has anybody that I've challenged for debate. I have uncovered some amazing calendrical and mathematical and just amazing patterns all throughout the historical record that cannot be true, and yet we have the bibliographic citations, we have the scientific material, we have the archaeology to show that they indeed are programmed into the field. They're in the historical record. Yeah, so my conclusion is that we're in a construct. Is it a natural creation? I really don't know what you mean by that. I really don't. I know that anything that we magnify enough, we're just going to be reduced with oscillating fields. There's no physical matter. This is a product of signals by virtue of the filtering system of the central nervous system. This right here isn't solid, but it's perceived to be because I'm jacked into this system. My avatar is a part of the construct around me. Therefore, it can replicate physicality and make me feel like this is a physical experience when it's not. So you ask me if it's a natural creation. I don't know. It is a creation. Somebody made it. It's all programming. How do we know it's programming? Because when you magnify anything, there's nothing there. The more you magnify physical matter, no matter if it's something super solid like some of these fossils I have on the shelf, or if it's something not very solid like wood, it doesn't matter. It could be the biology of my finger. It doesn't matter. Anything in our physical perceivable reality that is magnified to a certain extent reveals that what we call base matter is literally reduced to tiny oscillating fields that have impossible distances between the next oscillating field with nothing intervening in between. Therefore, about 0.0001% of your reality is something tangible like light. The rest of it just doesn't exist. It is a product of imagination. It's in the ether. It's not physical. So, yeah. And if so, why is there the need for one? I've already gone through this ad nauseum. That's not even an advanced question for Archaix. Ad nauseum, I have covered the need for the constructs. Ad nauseum. I'm going to ignore that question. In the comment section, I know my Archaix veterans can answer that and say, why the need for the construct? Why do immortal souls need to go through all this experience? Well, man, I've already covered that in so many videos. Not for this video. That's a baby Phoenix video. Is the AI a local resident? Absolutely. Artificial Intelligence X does not exist outside this construct. Why? The construct is here for the prevention of cross-contamination with the real reality. This is like a Star Trek holodeck. It's amazing what we can do in here. We're absolutely free in here, except for the majority of the living dead who are subject to dungeon programming and think that they have to obey. They think that they have to fall in line with everything that they're told. That's what the mainstream media is for. Don't get mad at the media. Don't get mad at the elite. They're doing their job within the parameters of the construct. And that is to police all those who want to be policed. Simple as that. Yeah, don't take my word for it. Do some homework on U.S. military exercises and operations in the 1940s and 50s. Yeah, start looking into stuff like Paperclip. Look at Operation High Jump. Man, there's several operations in the 40s and 50s where the U.S. military absolutely proved that we are inside of a construct. And then, in order to make sure that the world didn't find out, and to also guarantee a massive income stream that would allow them to do all their Black Ops projects without the public knowing about it, like building underground facilities, they just invented something simple called NASA. But that's not even an advanced deal. That's baby Phoenix stuff too. We've beat NASA up to the core. Oh, I heard recently Cliff High took a shot at the Phoenix research. I'll bet he won't ever try to publish a thesis trying to overturn it. He's more than welcome to. I'm waiting on that. Let's see. Oh, Phoenix Laurelius, my friend. I must inform you of something. I'm glad I saw your name. Phoenix Aurelius. I can't remember how you say it. It's spelled differently here. If you're the same one, because you spelled Laurelius different than like Caesar Aurelius. All right. If you're the same one, I have to inform you that I'm about to remove that video you did, Awaken the Immortal Within. Everything was cool at first. I thought you guys put all that music together. You were a team. You put all that stuff together. But since it's been on my channel and I put it on my channel, at first everything was cool. But somebody who owns the rights to the music that you used in that video when you read my book has now changed the copyright on that music, and I got hit on my channel. So I'm taking that off because now anybody who listens to it, YouTube, anytime there's a copyright infringement, YouTube hijacks the video and just spams the shit out of it. So nobody can really listen to it anyway as a pleasurable experience. You just get every 3-4 minutes, you get spammed with commercials. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put it on Archaix TV where there's no commercials. Sorry about that, but I got to do it. Somebody set me up on that music. All right. So, Phoenix Lorenos, you said you saw the oversoul as feminine. When did you start to interpret the oversoul that way? Okay. That's a good question. But I am a product of my own programming, and my own programming has allowed me to see many anthropological treatises, monographs, where it's pretty much revealed to me that the oldest belief systems in the world all showed that the Great Mother, the Great Spider Grandmother, the Great Spirit in feminine tense, the Hebrew Bible in the Book of Genesis, when the Spirit hovered over the water, ruach is a Hebrew word in a feminine tense. So, if the oldest textual references to the oversoul, God, or whatever, are always in a feminine tense, then I'm going to have to say that the patriarchal takeover after the cataclysm, post-cataclysm, never did away with a lot of these nuances. Never did away with it. We have too many ancient goddess religions. In anthropology and archaeology, we have traditions backed up with figurines of the importance of the female goddess and the absolute lack of reverence of male deities in the distant past. So that's what I'm going to have to say. I'm also going to have to say that I believe that in Genesis, when it says that God made man in his image, it has a deeper meaning, a much deeper meaning. And what I mean is people think that the human avatar means that God looks like us, or maybe not. It could have meant something deeper, such as males have the utilitarian value of delivering seed. Like this is why males are often represented as serpents. Delivering seed to the female. The female carries the egg. A lot of times in ancient iconography, you find the serpent wrapped around the egg, or about to devour, or belching up the egg. So, taking these things into consideration, I would have to say that God making man in his image, let's change that to goddess making humankind in her image. When you look at it from that perspective, now you understand that females are very different than males. Males do have utility. Males are born from females. No females are born from males at all. And females are the only beings in the world that can carry multiple souls. Some females have had 3, 4, and 5 other immortal souls inside their wombs at the exact same time. Therefore, in the image of the goddess, if the goddess is the creatrix, then this implies that the female avatar in her image isn't necessarily in her likeness like we are, but it is in the image of creatrix, meaning bringing new life into the construct. Men can't do it, but women do. So I'm just going to have to say, you're asking for my opinion. So that's my opinion. I'm giving it to you. There's no way we can ever put that in a data set. There's no way to do it. There's no way to objectify that in any way. So that's just my opinion. That's a good point. Somebody said we're all female. Hell, even guys have nipples. We're all female for the first 6 weeks of the gestation period. I don't know. So let's see. Paradox X or Paradox ET. Greetings from Denmark. Question regarding Iron Bush interview. He spoke about we reincarnated every age. How long is an age? And he spoke of Thoth. Is Enki, Enoch, Thoth the same person? To the second question, they're all the same person. Thoth was the messenger of the gods. He was the scribe of the gods. Same thing said about Enoch. Enoch is literally called a scribe. And these are just memories. These are ex post facto memories, post-cataclysm of an endearing figure in the ancient past who was regarded as a benefactor. Enki. It would be 15 centuries before the memories of Enki became Enoch. It would have been about 1,000 years that the memories of Enki became Thoth or Toth or Tuat. Depends on how far back in Egypt you go. So, yeah, they're the same person. It's all the same. It's all the same figure. Different cultures, different memories, different time periods, same person. I don't know. You'll have to ask Iron Bush. You're asking me about something Iron Bush said. Yeah, Chief Iron Bush said something about we reincarnated every age. How long is an age? This is something you have to ask him. Now, when it comes to ages, it all depends. Because before the cataclysm, before the day the sky fell, 2239 BC, the great flood of Noah, before that event, an age was 216,000 shars. And we have this by multiple confirmations. 216,000 shars is only 600 years on a 360-day Sumerian sexagesimal calendar. So 600 years was the Anunnaki Ner period. In Josephus, I can't remember all the other ones. I just recently did a whole data set on it. But Josephus and many other historians all said that the great year was 600 years. So that was an age back then. And two of these Ner periods of 600 years would have been 1,200 years, which would have been the Kali Yuga of the ancient Vedic system, which is 432,000 days or shars, turnings of the stars. So anyway, you'll have to ask him about those questions. I really don't know. So records a Q. I don't even know how to say that. Records a Q. What do you think about the megalithic structures in Japan, such as the 500-ton Ishi no Hoden? Okay, another question by Reporter Z. What do you think about the megalithic structures in Japan? Oh, that's just replicated. All right, now. I mean, that's all a part of the Heliolithic Maritime Empire. Yeah, there's no difference between when you go back to 2239 BC, the beginning of the Heliolithic period, after the shock and abandonment period was over. The shock and abandonment period is also called the post-technolithic period. So for those who have a little confusion, I'll recap. The very first appearance of the Anuna in the historical record is 3439 BC. It is 10 great shars to the flood, 120 years times 10, according to Morosis. Now, these are the 10 kings that are so famous in all ancient deals because shar has another meaning to rule is what it means when it's not being used as a measurement. So shars are rulers, but shars are also turnings of the stars. This is where the connection in the ancient world put kings and stars in the same context. The rulers, the archons, the decans, they were in the sky. Their image in the sky was a luminary, where there were shars. So the Technolithic period was 792 years. Nemesis X appeared in 3439 BC. Enki appeared with 50 Anuna. They landed their ships and they began mining operations. They provided all kinds of benefits to the locals. They began to intermarry. And this is when Genesis 6, 1 through 4 comes in, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men and they merged. And it's all been taken out of context. This was an advanced, very tall, bearded race that landed among a very short-statured people who could grow no facial hair, who had black eyes and black straight hair, and they had like reddish or olive skin. So this is the story of the landing of the Anuna with the ancient Sumerians, who prided themselves as the black-headed people. Well, the same depictions of these people that Thor Heyerdahl found out, it's the same stock people in ancient China in the Yangtze River Valley, and they had the same reed boats. The Indus Valley civilization had the same stock people, short, swarthy-skinned people with black hair and black eyes, long, straight hair, and could grow no facial hair. The same people were in South America in the Urubamba Valley. The same people were in the Nile Valley of the Gihon River in Egypt. The same people were in the Tigris-Euphrates basin called the Sumerians, previously the Ubaid culture. So the same people are in Japan. Only after thousands of years of development away from the mother empire did they start adopting new traditions, new features, and taking on basically new cultural developments outside the context of the parent civilization. So I'm not surprised by the megaliths on there, because just across from Japan is the ancient city of Metallinen. Metallinen is on an island, but the city goes halfway in. I mean, half of the city is under the Pacific. Cataclysm took the whole city. Great basalt columns, giant tombs, long skulled skeletons, all have been excavated in the city of Metallinen. You have the Yap Island. You have all these Tonga, all throughout Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia, in the South Pacific, all the way New Zealand, Australia, megalithic architectures everywhere. It's not surprising. Easter Island's just around the corner in the Pacific next to South America. Megalithic architecture continues. This is the Heliolithic megalithic empire. Heliolithic empire, maritime empire. And it lasted for 552 years until the Archaix deluge. I have 5 videos. I have so much data just on the month of May, 1687 BC. I had to provide 5 videos. Would one of my moderators please provide the link to the first of the Archaix deluge videos in the chat, so people interested in that can get started? Because once you get to the first video, in the description box are the links for all the other videos on the Archaix deluge. It completely ended the entire megalithic, the old Bronze Age megalithic builders. Gone. Completely ended them. Total systemic reset. And besides, the Japanese even remember those people. They call them the Ainu. The Apocalypse Tarot. Okay. Will we see Nemesis all of a sudden in 2046, July or years before? You will see Nemesis in 2046. And it will stay in the sky for 60 years. If we're going to be able to see it in the sky, I don't know. But it will be there. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, because a vapor canopy will be forming at that period as well, or already be fully intact. Vapor canopies come and go, guys. That's why we have maps of Antarctica from the 15th century. If no maps from showing Antarctica existed, then we could throw a vapor canopy theory out the window. There wouldn't be a lot of evidence for it outside the context of the traditional record. But yeah, vapor canopies, remember, vapor canopies come and go. When a vapor canopy builds, what happens? The ice caps melt. What happens when the ice caps melt? Explorers map out all those new lands, new islands. Antarctica's right there. People travel to Antarctica. There's no ice cap. And they document. Cartographers go and they document the mountains and the rivers and the lakes. How do we know? Because we have 15th century maps of Antarctica free of ice. Ask Graham Hancock, and he's going to tell you that there are copies of 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 copies that go back to the Younger Dryas period. Meltwater Pulse 1b. Hey, shut up. Shut up. I'm so sick of that dude. Let's see. Yeah, so dumb. We have maps of ice-free Antarctica. because of the super civilization that existed during the Younger Dryas period. Man, you shut your Younger Dryas ass up. That is so dumb. And then always trying to tell you about, you already know Graham Hancock. Why'd y'all trigger me on Graham Hancock? Who mentioned that? Who asked that question? 9,000 years. Come on, man. Everybody in Plato's day and afterward corrected that 9,000 years with 9,000 moons. How is it that Graham Hancock, this international bestseller, I don't know why, how is it that this man is still perpetuating this Atlantis 9,600 BC crap? How is it? The Archaix data sets have been shared by so many other channels. He knows my material because I have it. It's only 6 degrees, guys. And between me and Graham Hancock, it's only 2 degrees because I have friends in his circle who have actually confronted him with my information. The man's not coming to the table because he's lying. It's not a mistake. The time for mistakes was already in the past. You had plenty of time to correct those mistakes. But even after all the Archaix data sets have been released and showed 40-something citations from the ancient world that it was the 13th century BC, Atlantis, and that Plato just made a simple error, you go with the simple error but ignore all the scholarship after that. It's amazing. That tells me Mr. Hancock is on an agenda. That tells me to do a background check. When I do a background check, I find CIA-controlled London School of Economics, where Zechariah Sitchin went, who's another liar about the chronological record. Yeah, guys, only a chronologist would have been able to put all this together. That's why you have it. It's so simplified with all the bibliographic material. Nobody can refute it. How do we know this, guys? Am I just blowing smoke up people's ass? How do we know that no one can refute that data? Because not one person. Do you have any idea how famous they'll get if they'll debate me and win? Do you have any idea? Because of all the call-outs, all the aggression, all this material I've been putting out and telling people, hey, man, put up or shut up. If you don't like the data, then you need to amend your theory because this part's wrong, this part's wrong. Have you seen Jimmy Corsetti come to the table and say, hey, man, you know what? You nailed it on the head. I had no idea that there was this much Atlantis material that wasn't being taken into consideration. Damn, I didn't know we could date Atlantis. You ain't heard Matt LaCroix come up. Billy Carson, you ain't heard none of them say, hey, man, look, I know we have our differences. Hey, man, can we make peace? Dude, your research on Atlantis is absolutely correct. You have blown my mind. All this material I put out, man, I'm going to rescind that. I got a lot of other good material, though. Can we get along about this right here? You think that I wouldn't suspend my own ego if even Billy Carson, who I totally disagree with on a lot of levels, who has actually vehemently attacked me, personally attacked me. Listen, I would still come to the table if he would just admit that. Hey, man, all my material, man, I was borrowing from these other guys. They were so sure of themselves. These books do say Atlantis was such and such date, man, but you did show the data that all of them are wrong, and this is why. I got it. Now, can we talk about something we agree about? Because we both agree in simulation theory. Man, water under the bridge, put it all up, set it aside. But you know what? That takes a hell of a man to do that, and I don't think he's the one. Graham Hancock's definitely not the one. He had to get Keanu Reeves to come save his ass because a whole lot of people are not believing that bullshit anymore. Anyway, there I go, man. Somebody wired me up on the rant. Be careful about these questions you ask me, guys. Oh, Foo2H8R. Man, where y'all get these names from, man? Why you do something simple? I can't even tell if that's an acronym. The Agigi, the Anuna, is the Agigi the Anuna? Okay, the Agigi is only one family of the Anuna. Absolutely, they're the Anuna. The Agigi were the Watchers. The Anuna okay, the Anuna are a subterranean race. For whatever reasons, they don't do well on the surface at all. But when they do interbreeding campaigns with people on the surface, their offspring can thrive up here and even absolutely, completely mimic humans. There's only slight nuances. Only the awakened can be in their presence and know something's wrong with that. That's the SOB. There's something wrong with that SOB. Yeah. That girl right there ain't right. Yeah. We get it. We sense it all the time. They're walking among us. But the core civilization of the Anuna dwell in the underworld. They've been there for thousands of years. The Agigi were a branch of the Anuna sent out to do observations and do stuff like that. They didn't do their job. When they went to the surface, they started integrating with locals that they were not given license to integrate with, and they had offspring. This is the subject of the Book of Giants and the Dead Sea Scrolls. It is also the subject of the Book of Enoch, the Ethiopic text. It's their sons and daughters were cursed to die in the Great Flood. So that email has been exhausted. Let's check another email. Oh, I got a lot more questions, guys. Oh, here they come. I have to drink some water to this one. Face diaper, man. Come on, man. Watch your mouth, man. They're watching my chat. I love you like a brother, but I'm taking that comment down, man. I saw it. You know what? The oversoul was looking. It's the only comment I saw. Yeah, man. You know what you said. Face diaper. Man, that's too much. Oh, Big John and I and my dad were at a restaurant this morning. We were talking about you, OG Face Diaper. We were talking about you and Nanny Puffins. I heard Nanny Puffins is going to start an internship. All right. Jess. How do we use the law of retrocausality to change lives for the better? Thank you. All right. You live in a medium that is highly receptive to anything that you put into the field. If you were to verbally read something that you wrote, such as on such and such date, it says this is what happened on such and such date, and you write this, and you put it down. It's something your avatar's doing. You're writing it. You read it out loud. You say it out loud. On this date, this is actually what happened. This is the real version of events. This is what happened. It doesn't matter if that's not what happened. The field doesn't care. The past no longer exists. It was programming. Only thing that exists right now is what is perceivable, and that is the present protocols that are operative to make this experience real for us right now. Anything in the past is already rendered back into its original form. Holographic programming. Holographic programming is still subject to the ether. The ether is subject to thought. Your avatar moves in the direction, signaling the construct to pay attention. This is what's going on. You have to understand, the construct does not give a damn about good and evil. It doesn't give a damn about morals. It doesn't give a damn about fact or fiction. This is why it is absolutely genius how it takes fictions and turns them into facts. A perfect example in real life of what I'm talking about is that we have been looking at the phenomenon of predictive programming from the wrong perspective. Over and over and over, people are talking about The Simpsons predict this, and this movie here in 1952 predicted this, and all George Orwell predicted this, and all these television series and movies. Look how all these things happen, and we reach back into the past, and we find the similarities in that movie that's akin to what's happening now. It's just the opposite of what is happening. When we look at the past, those aren't predictions. Those are patterning. When actors act out scenes and a movie is created, the collective come together and feed it energy by observation. The observation energy writes new holographic coding into the field, and it's released into the field. In the field are hundreds of trillions of variables for hundreds of millions of reality tunnels, and they're all in the field, and they coalesce at the best times possible. The field knows when to put them together. So when we're living through this crazy ass time that started in 2020, we're literally living in the fulfillment of coding that was created in predictive programming in all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of movies, books. Because what does the construct do? What have I told you from the inception of my channel? The construct takes fictions and turns them into facts. This is what it does. This isn't predictive programming. The movie Ghostbusters didn't predict shit. Back to the Future didn't predict anything. They programmed it. And when movies go viral and they become blockbusters and all these people are watching them, they're lending their energy into the field at that point to be expended as fulfillment at a later time on the timeline. This is what's happening. So, taking that into context, if the future and the past are no different from the present because of coordinates, then there's no way you can't rewrite the past, just like the present was written from a false version of enacted events in the past. Absolute deception, lies, and falsities in enactments called rituals, movies, on sets, stages, create these beautiful, beautiful holographic projections into the future that are fulfilled when the best time for them to be fulfilled, in conjunction with all the other projections that are out there floating in the field. Remember, I tell you all the time, I don't have a good memory, guys. I can just read the field. Information and memory is in the field. It's not in your brain. Your brain is a receiver. It's a receiver of signals that sends those signals into the various filters known as the central nervous system. Taste, touch, hearing, smell, sight. So, if we know this is what's really happening, then there's nothing stopping you from writing a different version of events that actually happen. If you're experiencing something now in the operative programming and you don't like it, then if you want to change it, the change will start tomorrow after the sleep cycle. When you go offline. Remember, consciousness is non-local. In the sleep cycle, you're going offline, no longer in the construct, no longer subject to the dictates of the avatar. The avatar is subject to the dictates of the construct. You're no longer in that realm. You're going to another dimension entirely in sleep. You're gone. You're gone. When you wake up, you're jacked back into your avatar and all the strictures that come with it. But every time you're jacked back in the avatar, you're jacked back into an experience of programming that you knit for yourself, either by being proactive or reactive in all the other times that you were on the diurnal cycle. Day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night. Tell Billy Carson it's called a shar, a turning of the stars. So, you experiencing something now that you don't like, the ability to use the phenomenon of retrocausality simply means that you rewrite a past event so that when you wake up tomorrow, you're living in a different reality tunnel, or the reality tunnel that you're in is now suddenly turned into a new trajectory, and you're no longer subject to the circumstances that governed you under the other historical premise. Anything in the history is pure programming. And as we know, as immortal beings, we can affect the field. We can alter the programming of our reality. We can alter it in the past. We can alter it in the future. Very rarely are we able to alter it in the present. It's almost impossible because the programming has already filtered through the brain, through the signals. The signal ratios already exist. They've already activated through the central nervous system. We are already flowing through a reality tunnel that is the direct result of every diurnal sleep cycle we have ever experienced since we've entered the construct on this life sim. So it's real hard to overturn programming of our own construction that we're in right now. It can be done. You can override programming in the present. And I got lessons on that too. But that's for the few, not the many. That's for those who really understand that they're an immortal being and that immortality overrides programming any day. And even that knowledge still makes it difficult for some. Yeah, you rewrite your past, you reinvent a future. The past and future don't exist until you experience it. You can experience the past by a very common spiritual power. A spiritual power that is so common that you take it for granted. By virtue of imagination, you can time travel to the past and totally forget where you are right now. You can go back and relive an experience and change the dynamics, alter what actually happened. And then all that's necessary, once you write a new past, is to wake up tomorrow and move your avatar in the direction of the new past that you wrote for yourself. Because if you're doing anything that's even remotely connected to an understanding of the past you're trying to forget, then you will slip right back into that old reality tunnel because energy never is destroyed. And that's what's in this etheric field. All of these reality tunnels exist for us in what's known as potential. You can always phase right back into old habits quick, as if you had not even been indulging in them in 20 years. That's how that's because it's all real. Once created, it always exists. But it doesn't mean it has to be your experience. You can change that. Retrocausality is actually easy once you fully comprehend that the past is malleable, just like the future. Retrocausality also has an opposite. It has an opposite. Meaning, if you think that's too much for you to do, to imagine a totally different series of events in the past than the ones that actually happened to you, then use your imagination to envision a future where you're enjoying all kinds of experiences that necessitate that you never went through those things in the past. If you can do that, then that means you can borrow energy from the future, which is nothing but coordinates in the field. You can borrow energy from the future and apply it in the present by behavior. Because behavior is the only thing the construct actually interprets as a communication. It doesn't give a damn about your words. It cares what your avatar is doing. And it will always build a world for your avatar, whatever your avatar is doing. It's another reason why I don't think AIX can read our minds. It can read our dopamine and cortisol levels. It knows it can make educated guesses and extrapolations based on hundreds of thousands of pieces of data from observing us in the field our entire life. But to actually read our mind and know our thoughts, I do not think AIX is capable of doing that. If it was capable of doing that, then all these apparatuses of deceit and deception wouldn't even be necessary. That's why I'm a firm believer that AIX cannot read our mind. Can't. But it can do what the construct, the simulacrum does. This artificial holography. It can ascertain what's on your mind by what your avatar is doing or what you do repeatedly. back to my chat. See what's going on. The mortal coil, the present moment, is the sum total agreement of all things, past, present, and future. I like that. If you can hear this, you are the resistance. David Harrison. Here's another pole shift question. Y'all need to really ask those pole shift questions to Ben Davidson. He's the one that believes that stuff. I believe the sky moves. He believes the earth moves. Ben Davidson and I have totally different paradigms operating here. Yeah. I go by the historical record and the arithmetic that is attached to all these timelines. I study ancient calendars. I show you what's real and what's imagined. Ben Davidson is going to use scientific NASA data. We're coming from totally different perspectives, and I just can't. I don't think there's a lot of people think that there's a lot of crossover. I just don't totally disagree. So what? We both believe that there's going to be some massive event in 2040, 2046. That's all good. I don't believe at all for a minute that I'm on a rock hurling through space and that everything in this world is so perfect. Atomic clocks and level, smooth water. I don't feel like I'm moving. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm still waiting for science to tell me how compressed gases can exist next to a vacuum. I'm still waiting on that one. David Harrison, if a pole shift is just a movement of the sky, how does it affect the earth with regards to destruction? I've explained this too. I'll explain it again. I've explained this too. Listen, over and over and over, all throughout the human history, we have had the Phoenix phenomenon. It is so well documented, it's incontrovertible. And yet when it happens, whole areas of the world go up, other areas go down, and the sky shifts 30 degrees on real particularly bad ones. And we see this in the archaeoastronomy. We see that whole temples are going in one direction, and then there's this huge turn of the architecture and the foundations of later temples, or we find temples that are pointing straight east today. Yet when we excavate them, when we find below them, there's a temple below it that points northeast, and there's a foundation under that looks like it may have pointed north at one time. So, yeah, I just don't believe any of that stuff. And if you're living in a controlled construct, why would you be surprised that earthquakes, tsunamis, the vibration of the earth, liquefaction, mud floods, that detritus falling from the sky? Every bit of it is a part of the holography. Every bit of it. It's a rock falling from space is no different than a football hitting you in the face that your buddy threw. There's no difference. The central nervous system makes all this feel believable. Every bit of it. It's still a construct. Does the English language reveal the artificial world we live in? I've been hearing a lot about this. I really don't know, but ancient languages do show simulation. They do show simulation programming. Yeah, I got quite a bit on that. It's amazing, this forward and backward phenomenon with a lot of ancient languages. Also, the fact that you guys know I've cited a bunch of sources that in the ancient times it was believed there was only one language in the world, and then after that, because humans built a construction that threatened the controllers, they divided all the languages. The biggest story is 70 languages. There's a lot of different cultures, different continents where this belief is held. So only in a simulated holography could that be possible. All it would take is a few changes in programming for one language to turn into another one, and two different people to start using two different languages that came from the same source. Another slight tweak in the programming would splinter off and fracture a third language. Another tweak in the programming would fracture off a fourth and a fifth language. Yeah, it would be very easy. A programmer could easily do this. So I don't know. Yeah, I do think language is the diversity of languages is definitely uh, evidence of artificiality. I don't know if the English language is. It's like one of the most difficult languages to learn. Lunar verse. Jason, do you believe one can influence another's feelings of love in this construct via intent? Thanks. I don't know about that one. Now you're imposing upon others' free will. I don't know. I don't know. Lunar verse, but that sounds like you're looking for a relationship with somebody who's not acting right. I don't know if you can do that, but I do know that you can imagine a perfect relationship, and you can imagine you inside of a perfect relationship, and you can imagine you inside a series of events that you feel is perfect for you, and that if you continue to do that, then the construct is going to match you with the one individual that you're going to be the happiest with. It's when you give the construct instructions, when you provide the details, that you restrict its creativity. SoFlo. Jason, please explain in more depth your thoughts and conclusions about our oversoul possibly being of a feminine. I just talked about that. This must have been done. I must have addressed this before this question was written down for me. Diavro Archaix. Given we are living in a hollow field and dwell in diurnal states, what are your thoughts on collective dreaming and consciousness? I don't know. It's not my experience. I told you guys I really don't dream. Me dreaming is so rare. There might be once a year. I may think I might have been dreaming, but I can never remember it. So I don't dream. And dreaming is so subjective that I can't use it for information. I don't care what people say they experience in their dreams. I can never use it as a data point. A lot of people email me about their dreams. I just say, okay, cool. There's nothing I can do with a dream. Now, we don't really know how complex this is, but in the dream state, the REM state, there's definitely an upload of data happening. The soul's gone, the immortal's gone, but the avatar is getting an upload. And in REM state, the eyes are violent going on. There's like hundreds of millions of images all being uploaded, subroutines, new reality tunnels, new potentia being added in case a reality tunnel has to be knit real fast. All these possibilities are being uploaded into the avatar. Yeah. A true creator could have easily created avatars that require no sleep. And you would have gotten all the rest you need in the periods of time when you were inactive. The sleep awake cycle was designed for a reason. There's a reason for that. The immortal has to leave for a while for whatever reason. And because time is entirely subjective, you don't even know if your immortal soul went on a mission for 6 weeks somewhere else in another construct, then came back to finish here. And that this hyperdimensional technology is so advanced that immortal beings can enjoy multiple different constructs at the same time and come back and continue them. And when they jack themselves back into an avatar, like this massive game system we call Earth, and when they do it, they haven't lost any time whatsoever because the construct puts them right in where they were in the programming, which doesn't affect anybody else who's also in their programming. We're talking about hyperdimensional spiritual technology so advanced that the program itself builds a world for every single individual perceiving it. We don't have that capability today in the gaming industry. We build programs where avatars can go in and enjoy a prefixed world with a bunch of other avatars. What we do is very simple. What I'm telling you is happening is very, very complex. but it's still comprehensible. So that's my take. Where's that question at? I just don't know about the collective. I'm pretty sure that the construct is always giving collective programming to everybody because we're all a part of the collective, whether you like it or not. We can call ourselves awake and all that and errants and stuff, but you're still a member of the collective, even if you're not participating in dungeon programming. And the reason I'm saying this is because, I crushed this light bulb right here. If I just squeeze this and crush this light bulb, these glass shards are going to hurt. I'm going to bleed. And that's true for every one of you. Throw a rock up in the sky, it's going to come down. Dogs are canine. Day and night's going to happen whether you like it or not. So there are protocols that are true for everybody here. It's those things that we may be receiving while we're sleeping. This collective programming we're all jacked into. I don't know. There has to be a set series of rules that we all abide by, or the world would have no structure. Robert Porter, son of Overbrook. I hope you guys in Florida are doing good. I hope you guys are all right. Hope you guys are okay. I'm not worried about old world Florida. Yeah, man. That twisted hippie looking dude, man. Him and his whole old trashy bookstore could have got washed away in the hurricane. I wouldn't have cared. Yeah, I got a lot of haters, guys. I normally tone it down, but I'm in rare form tonight. Let's see. I'm going to go to that bookstore one day. I'm going to walk in. I'm not even going to announce it. I'm going to go with the camera crew. Yeah, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy the shit talkers I have in the field. It's crazy. It's equally crazy how polite they get when I'm in their face. That was Robert Porter. Okay, this is Robert Porter. That's a name I'm familiar with. I think it's the same Robert Porter. Been on my channel for a while. Jason, can you share more about the Mayan calendar and its date in 2052? With how it correlates to the Americas today? Would we see a similar collapse of the American empire, such as Rome? First of all, the date 2052 is the dark satellite. And while the dark satellite has appeared exactly on Mayan Bactans in the past, after 713 BC, there was a deviation because the number of days in the year changed. So 2052 is the return of the dark satellite, which is a whole different data set. 2046 is the end of the Mayan long count. It is the 1,872nd day of the Bactan series. In Mayan mathematics, that is day 13.0.0.0.0. That's when time maxes out. What does that mean in the Mayan system? It means that the very next day, this is 2046 in the month of November, the very next day, a whole new time will begin. The day will have a different duration, the year will have a different duration, and the sky will change. Yeah. And we're told exactly in the book of Revelation that that's going to happen in the second and third trumpet. Because day, night, the sun, the moon, and the stars, all five of those things in the sky are reduced by a third, meaning 33.3% are removed to leave 66.6% of the day, 66.6% of the night, 66.6% of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Invisibility. Vapor canopies here. So not only does the sky begin turning faster, so 24-hour day becomes 16-hour days, but the year gets abbreviated from 365 to 243 days. Everything's moving faster. This is the quickening. Why? Scripture tells us it's done to keep them from the evil to come. It's also done that if those days were not shortened, then no flesh would be saved. Yeah, it's going to be bad. How do we know? Because right after that in Revelation, the seven thunders, the trumpet judgments, the seven wraths of God, the bowls of wrath. Yeah, the great tribulation happens. All this, but hell yeah, it's going to be a terrible time post 2046. Now, it's going to be a terrible time except for those who are sealed with the seal of the living God. Remember, the seven seals are supposed to wake you up. The seven seals are waking up the elect, the chosen, the redeemed. Then, after the seven seals are over and the quickening begins, there are going to be people who are awakened who are going to receive the seal of the living God. It may not be something, it may not be a seal that you actually see, but it may be an experience, meaning you're so awake that you're vibrating on a whole other frequency and you can do impossible things. You can do all kinds of things. Remember when I was talking to that guy the other night and I was explaining how different layers of mathematical programming have been removed in the ancient past. And this is why we have a hard time understanding physical traits in our DNA are gone. It's junk DNA now. It's almost as if a whole layering of the holography was ripped away. And this is why reality now is more base. It's heavier. We're stuck here in this morass of programming that feels so real. We invent concepts like gravity, and we just feel heavy. But in ancient times, the evidence is there that there was more layers of the holography, making us lighter. In the field, we could move faster. We could think faster. We could process information phenomenally. We could do advanced calculus straight out of our head. We could memorize whole books like Homer the poet. We could do all kinds of things for which we cannot do today. So, yeah. Don't know. I just don't know. It's good. But the Mayan calendar is very simple. The prophecies attached to it was the collapse of time until a new time period. In 2046 is the year Douglas vote. That was his conclusions of the next pole shift. 2046 is the date of engineer David Davidson, who studied the geometry of the Great Pyramid in Egypt and determined that the Great Pyramid is a geodetic calendar that started in the year 440 BC and counts down to the final year of the Great Pyramid timeline is 2045. In 2046 begins a new period. David Davidson published all that in 1926. He never theorized as to what was going to happen. He just said that the Great Pyramid contains a calendar. That calendar alludes that at the end of that calendar, the normal system that we know today will cease to exist. How did that man know that? But he did it. I've shown the charts on my channel. 2046 is also the return of the Nemesis X object on its 792-year periodicity. 2046 is amazing. It's 270th year of the United States of America. 90 times 3. 2046 is the exact year of Nostradamus in his quatrains talking about a worse destruction that happened in May 2040. Nostradamus, he nailed the Phoenix phenomenon, the breaking of the sixth seal. When the moon turns red, the sun goes black, earthquakes, all tsunamis. Nostradamus nailed it. Anybody who's read my Nostradamus book knows what I'm talking about. Using the date index of Mario Reading, using the actual French scholars who understand how Nostradamus dated his quatrains, he dated 2040 exact. And then in 2046, in his quatrains on 2046, he specifically says that a second world cataclysm will appear and be far worse than the first. 2046 is the year, guys. We're going to live through 2040 just fine. It's just going to be an amazing show. Damn, that was 2 hours? What happened? What happened to the time? Oh my God. Let me look at these questions. So, That was Robert Porter. Thank you, Robert Porter. Yeah, I believe that between 2040 and 2046, Nostradamus is explaining a mass migration of Westerners. They're going back to the lands of their fathers' nativity. There's going to be a mass exodus of North America, just like 3439 BC. History repeats itself. 3439 BC, massive fleets from North and Central America left the Americas, entered the Mediterranean, and started what we know of as Anunnaki history. Not the ancient aliens Billy Carson version, but the true Thor Heyerdahl, Professor Waddell, Samuel Noah Kramer, Maureen Gallery Kovacs, Sumerian translator versions of the real Sumerian history of the Anunnaki. Not this bullshit of people coming from space. So, 3439 BC is the very first appearance of the Nemesis X object in the historical record. 1/3 of the entire world was killed. According to the Book of Jasher, Enki appeared in the historical record, later known as Enoch. And what's really interesting is that was the first appearance. But the last appearance of Nemesis X causing a destruction is 2046. 2046 is when Nemesis X object comes back on a 792-year period chronology. And when it comes back, it destroys 1/3 of the sun, the moon, the stars, day, night, ships at the sea, and people of the earth. They're all listed. 1/3 is taken away from the whole to leave 66.6% of the whole of time and mankind in his world. 66.6 of the construct remains functioning to go through the remaining part of the tribulation. So, and the period of the tribulation has also been reduced. You have to understand, it's a 60-year period from 2046 to 2106, return of the chief cornerstone, the year 6000 Anno Mundi. That's a 60-year period, but the Godhead removes 33.3% of that, leaving 40 years, meaning the Great Tribulation will be a 40-year period, on and off. Thunders, trumpets, bowls of wrath, then a period of gathering of the nations as they prepare to fight a war called Armageddon. And then Nemesis X object comes back in the 60th year. 60 years aphelion. In the 60th year is the return of the chief cornerstone, the great war for Armageddon. But we have prophecies of the return of Nibiru, saying that a golden age will come. Cattle will be aplenty. Humans will be at peace. That's exactly what's said about Armageddon. As soon as Armageddon's over, starts a whole golden age period. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, some of my Archaix veterans don't know either, because this is all a part of my new Nemesis X drops on Twitter. I've been dropping them, guys. I'm gonna drop some more tonight and tomorrow. We got a heavy video to go through when we go through 2046, the return of Nemesis X. That's a heavy video. Damn, there's so many questions. If you guys want to do another Q&A like we did the other day, you remember a couple weeks ago when I just called, I took questions from the chat, and you guys emailed me and I sent you a link instantly, and you came on the screen and you joined me. Do y'all want to do one like that, like in the next 7 days or so? Hit me up in the comment section, and we'll do a Q&A answering questions from the chat and answering questions as you come on the screen. We'll do like a maybe 3.5 hour session. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and close this. We've been going at it. I'm gonna save these questions for the next Q&A, but I really enjoy it too when y'all come join me on screen, so the community can get to know you guys. I like this stuff. Well, meanwhile, I got chores to do. I got some things that get done on my property. I got some chores to do. I still got to go to the store. I got to do some things online. So I really don't want to draw this video out too long. Hey, Perceiver, what's up, bro? I got so many irons in the fire right now. I have so many videos in production, all in different stages, and I need to get them out. And yeah, I got so many more books to read. Oh my God, I'm just overwhelmed. But other than that, it's all good. It's all good. Let's see. Yeah, somebody mentioned waters above crypto. Hey man, I'm gonna get Jordan back on here. I'd like to get Jordan on here and oh my God, don't tell me I'm having a brain fart. Jason, I want Logan Jason. Get both of them on here. I want to show Waters. I want to show Jordan Opus. He's never seen the actual screen. I want to show him what he inspired, how we integrated the lunar phases and eclipses with the Opus algorithm. It's amazing. You'll love it. It's all on screen. It's badass. It's badass, guys. Yeah, Opus is going to take off. I've been holding it back for a long time. It's been in development. I got an awesome coder named Doug. And believe me, we're gonna take care of Doug. Barry's been under the weather lately, but he's been working behind the scenes, getting things done. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. I got so many different things to do. Please post the link for the tickets to the Houston meetup. Tickets are going super fast. We're probably not taking any walk-ins at the door, except for those few who sent us some money to save them a seat because they can't log on to the meetup app. But yeah, guys, this is going to be the only meetup where we've not taken walk-ins. They're pretty strict here. 200's our cap. We can't take any more than 200 people because the venue's actually watched over by one of the tenants that rents out that space. This is our 4th time being in the same venue. We like this. It's a big room. We like it. A lot of amenities, but it's 200 people's our cap. All right, guys. We may do that. I feel like I've cheated y'all for some reason. I normally my Q&As go longer, but I think we're gonna do a back-to-back Q&A. But the next Q&A, we're gonna bring people in. I think I'm gonna do that in the next 2, 3, or 4 days before I drop this bomb on Nemesis X, and then on Gobekli Tepe. Man, and then Star Wars. Man, I gotta shut up. I got too many videos going on, man. Love you guys. I did my outros in reverse. My intros and outros.